1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better
Say what's cracking, YouTube. It's your boy 16 to Life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Man, I got a little cold, but you already know what it is, man. The show must go on. So let's hop right into this video, man. So, it recently came out, and I'm talking recently, fresh off the press, that Atlanta rapper Young Thug has took a plea bargain in his RICO case. Now, the name of the plea that he has took is a non-negotiable deal, right? And so what happened is here, he had been on trial for a RICO trial. Now, his trial had been going on well over 6-7 months. They say it is the longest, or it was the longest running trial in the history of Georgia, right? And so the prosecuting attorney definitely has some issues and concerns about him being found guilty. Obviously, his lawyer, and he definitely has some concerns, or excuse me, the prosecuting attorney had some concerns about him being found not guilty or maybe going to a mistrial. And he, of course, and his lawyer obviously has some concerns about him being found guilty and the time he would possibly have to serve if he was found guilty. And so basically they come to an agreement, which is known as a non-negotiable plea deal. And so what that is basically they are dismissing some of the charges, and in the end he's going to admit to some charges, and in the end the prosecuting attorney then will present his case or her case to the judge and let the judge know what they think should be the outcome and should be the punishment. Then Young Thug's lawyer will present their side to the judge, telling the judge what they think, you know, his punishment and stuff should be. The judge will hear both of their arguments, and then in the end, the judge will arrive at her own conclusion, right? And to my understanding, if the judge had arrived at a conclusion that Young Thugger did not agree with, he would still have to basically deal with that punishment. That's why it's called a non-negotiable plea deal, to my understanding. Or maybe, you know what, maybe I'm a little wrong on that. Maybe that is a binding plea bargain. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys listen a little bit to what the judge happened to sentence Thugger to right now, Young Thug.
All right. So it is not lost on the court that the state, had they been able to come to agreement on certain special conditions, was willing to entirely dismiss the RICO count, was willing to entirely dismiss one of the gang counts, and was willing to entirely dismiss this, machine gun count. Was willing to give a sentence that permitted Mr. Williams to walk out of the door today, and therefore does not seem to be particularly worried that Mr. Williams, if on the streets, would be a danger to society. taking that into consideration in crafting my sentence. On count one, the court sentence is 20 years to serve 5 years, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years to be probated, and a $25,000 fine. On count two, the sentence is 5 years to serve, commuted to time served. That's the minimum sentence that's permitted on that count. It is required to be run consecutively. I'm going to run it consecutive to count one, but I am going to backload. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not commuted. That is 5 years to serve, and it's going to be run consecutively to count one, backloaded, by which I mean after you serve your 15 years of probation. If you have been successful on that probation, and I sincerely hope that you are, then at the end of that 15 years, I will commute the entire rest of any service portion of your sentence to time served. So I'll get to the end of it and give you the total sentence. But so essentially, the total sentence is 40 years to serve the first 5 years in prison, but commuted to the time that you have already served, followed by 15 years on probation, followed then by the backloaded 20 years, which can be served in custody and will be served in custody if you are not successful on your probation. If you are successful in completing your 15 years probation, that will be commuted to time served.
So basically, as you've seen, the judge essentially gave him 5 years in prison, and then commuted that 5 years to the time served. So basically, he's a free man. And there are a lot of conditions that for anybody who has been through the justice system, the standard conditions. He can't be around gang members. He can't be in certain areas. He can't be around guns, so on and so forth. A few, she added a few special provisions that the average individual wouldn't have. I believe 4 times a year he has to give a anti-drug, anti-gun speech. It can be at schools and so on and so forth, dealing with the youth. And if he wants, it could be in the form of a concert, things like that, right? So basically, man, he dodged a bullet. There are, of course, several channels and a lot of YouTube information for those who are extremely interested in exactly what it is he has to do and stuff. You can go and find that, right? And so, what I'm here to talk about today is, man, first and foremost, right, man, I take my hat off to Young Thug, man. Once again, by no way am I condoning the actions that led him to be in this situation, right? But when I am saying, so when I take my hat off, what I'm saying to him is, man, you finally see an individual who, whether right or wrong, whether you disagree with what he done, the lifestyle he was leaving previous to this situation, man, I salute anybody that sticks to their principles, that is solid in whatever foundation they have planted for themselves, right? Now, if the man wants to change his life, I 100% encourage him to and welcome him to that, because he stood the test of time. He stood through the fire. He stood to his principles of not telling and dealing with the outcome. He has dealt with the outcome, right? So now, as he has dealt with the outcome and seeing everything play out in his mind now, if he realizes, you know what, man, this lifestyle is not what it's cracked up to be. I stayed 10 toes down. No, I didn't rat on anybody. I didn't tell on anybody. I was willing to go to jail for the rest of my life, or X amount of years, or face whatever type of punishment I had to face for the lifestyle I was living. Now that I have dealt with that situation, I'm ready to change my life, move forward. Then I congratulate him, and I think it would be an extremely wise thing to do, man. Once again, shout out to Thug, right? Because he stayed down, man. And this is a cold situation, right? You're running this record company. You having big money, man, and You signing people. A lot of people want to be down and stuff. Everybody wants to ride on the ship. When they party and getting big bread, and they want to live off the fame. They want to claim the fame and be associated with it. But once the ship hits rocky waters, people start hopping overboard. People start pointing and telling, man, and that has to be a cold situation, right? When you see these dudes who you party with, you looked out for, and you guys had commitments to each other, and you guys claim to hold the same belief system, and then to see these individuals betray you, I know that had to be a cold situation, man. That had to be a cold situation. And so now I'm just hoping that seeing all that stuff has opened his eyes, man. And hopefully, and I'm pretty sure it will, hopefully he will now, reduce his circle to a very, 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 very small, trusted few, if at all. Hopefully he'll just get out. He'll remain loyal to those who remain loyal to him, and he will enjoy his life. He will enjoy his family, man. And this is the thing, right? The more people on the mission, the more people gonna be snitching. You know what I'm saying? If you have to go put in work with a carload full of dudes, 6, 7 dudes, that's just 6 or 7 dudes who have information about what happened. And if it happens to get ugly down the line, they possibly can use that as a get out of jail free card, right? Once again, man, Young Thug stayed true to his principles, man. When you had so many dudes who at one point in time claimed to have an allegiance with him jump ship, you know what I'm saying? The dude Gunner, right? The rapper Gunner, that he was his was his buddy, homeboy, whatever they want to say, right? What he done is, in my opinion, was a dishonorable thing, because part of the RICO was they was trying to prove that YSL was a criminal organization, and it was a gang, and it was more than just a record company. So now when you have Gunner, who basically admits to that, yes, this YSL, it is a gang, that is information, of course, that can be used to help convict this dude, right? So unfortunately, man, he didn't stay down. He basically confirmed information that was looking to be proven to convict this man and send him to prison, right? And you had many others. I didn't, I'm gonna keep it 100. I didn't keep up with the trial. I didn't watch the trial and none of that, right? I might see bits and pieces pop up on YouTube, but I definitely know it was a lot of dudes who was running with his organization, his record company, whatever they had going on. And once they started getting arrested, you had dudes jumping ship, pointing fingers, working with the prosecution. You had a few dudes who stayed down, right? But you had many more who chose to put their freedom ahead of any type of commitment to what they had going on, right? And so, like I say, I hope that just opens his eyes, man, and it makes him realize that everybody who holler gang gang ain't gang gang. And also, man, y'all let that be a lesson to y'all out there as well, man. Dudes that's caught up in this lifestyle, man. Everybody is not gonna stay committed. I say this time and time again. Dudes play gangster until they get locked up. Then suddenly dudes want to go home. They think about their families. They think about their kids, so on and so forth. If my memory serves me correctly, it was one individual who was caught up in this situation, in this case, right? And his girlfriend was on the phone telling him, hey, man, what about your baby? You got to take care of your baby, You better do the right thing. You got a daughter out here, so on and so forth, right? She was trying to encourage her boyfriend, who was also caught up in this situation, to basically to do what he needed to do to come home. Regardless of whatever that was, if that was informing on a friend of his, in this case, which happened to be Thug, she was advising him to do that. You got a kid out here, and so on and so forth, right? But why aren't they thinking of all those things before they participate in these activities to bring the law to their front door, right? You know, when I got locked up, you know, I had a kid out there. I had a mom and a family and all that old type of stuff, right? And you don't think I wanted to get back out there to that? But still in all, man, when you voluntarily enter a certain lifestyle, you know the rules and regulations of that lifestyle, man. And so suddenly now, once you get arrested, if you can't deal with what comes with it, I don't respect that, right? Because if you can't, you know, and if listen, there are foundations and rules to everything, man. Everything from tiddlywinks to jump rope to Monopoly. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you know, whatever you choose to include yourself in, it's rules and regulations. So if you can't stick to the rules and regulations of being a good Christian, or let me reverse that. If you can't stick to the rules and regulations of being a good Crip, how you gonna stick to the rules and regulations of being a Christian? So it's not necessarily whatever you enter in, it's you, because your foundation is weak and you are willing to, you know what I'm saying? You are willing to waver as the wind blows. You know, when something gets rocky, you're not willing to stick it out, and that's something that I can't respect, right? It's the person who sticks to his foundations at the time, right? Then later on in life, if you happen to grow, educate yourself, you mature, you say, you know what? I no longer agree with these principles or the tenets that govern this particular thing that I have chose to become involved in, and now I'm moving away from that, right? But don't let an arrest and facing time be the main thing to make you want to suddenly now leave this organization or this subculture or whatever, right? So once again, last but not least, man, shout out to Thug for staying down, for believing in himself, for believing in the life that he chose, right? Even if you disagree with the lifestyle that he chose, at least he chose to stay down and follow it through, you know, stick to his convictions, whatever his belief system was, you know. And so anyway, man, like I tell y'all, man, sometimes it gets ugly, and we definitely will see who's real and who's not. So y'all already know who it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.